Hi everyone, Empress Justice here. Just giving you an update. If you'd like to check out my daily readings, you can check them out on Empress Justice Tarot, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I will leave the links in the description on YouTube. What I might actually do is leave a link to my YouTube channel in my bio of Empress Justice Tarot as well. So I might do that, but I don't know. Just check out my readings on there. I've also done an essay on Jared Leto, given that he's had multiple sexual misconduct allegations against him, including rape and statutory rape and sexual assault, and some pretty creepy behaviors. He also started a cult in Croatia, apparently. So I made an essay about him. It was more of an astrological essay than anything else, but it also gave insight into his early life and how that impacted him in terms of making him transfer that abuse onto someone else. So if you want to check that out on Empress Justice Tarot, you can. I'm just seeing if I can do some fucking work on my daily readings and talk to you guys at the same time whilst I'm giving these updates. Now, update on yesterday, nothing's really changed. Same old racial slurs, same old nonsense. Nothing really to write home about. It's just the same predictable stuff. And at this point, I'm kind of numb to it. I'm numb to what the neighbors are doing at this point. I'm not really focused on them. I'm more focused on what I'm doing with regards to my readings, and the thing that worries me is not actually what the neighbors have been saying, but it's the impact on other people in the village as well, and how they perceive me based on what's been said about me. So I'm not really interested in what my neighbors think of me at this point. I haven't been interested in months because I don't really have anything real to say. It's just the same old shit. But I haven't been out because I don't, even if people know that I'm not the villain that I've been made out to be, even when everyone knows that, I still have to relive what I went through in the first place through those people. So I want to go out, like just going out for a snack, just going out for some extra food, because I need to bring extra food in the house, but I haven't been out. I could have gone out like right across the road and got some food, but instead I got some KFC because I can't face going out. I can't face going out, not necessarily because of what these neighbors did, but because of everybody's responses to them. I just don't have it in me to face anybody right now. I just don't have it in me. I'm just very fucking tired. It's just been a long 5 months. I'm just very, very tired. So I just put my energy into my work, and I never used to call my readings, I never used to call it work, because I'm not getting paid that much for them. If I'm getting paid anything at all. And I mostly get donations. There's one particular person who keeps donating to me, which I'm very, very grateful for, but it's still only a donation. It's not really anything to write home about. And I'm not making any profit off anything that I'm doing, so there's nothing to declare. But I never used to call this work. I never used to call my readings work, but now I do, because I realize it fulfills a way more important purpose than just giving people the skinny on what their personalities might be like. It's so much deeper than just a love language or just a coping mechanism. It's literally giving people the tools by which to fulfill their destinies and live out their lives. So for me, I do count it as work. Maybe other people don't count it as work because they're too close-minded to understand how it works. That's up to them. But I count what I do very much as work. So that's what I've been focused on. I've been focused on my tarot readings. I've been focused on other business interests in my life as well. So that takes up like the forefront of my mind. It's like the thing that I'm constantly thinking about rather than my neighbors. In fact, it's kind of always been like that. I've always been more focused on what I'm doing than what other people are doing. But because they're need to get my attention, and the ways in which they go about that are so violent. That's why I end up talking about them so much. It's not actually because I give a damn about them. I don't. It's just that the obsession with me, it gets so peak that, you know, I end up transferring that onto you guys through talking about what I'm going through. But it, like, the obsession with me is peak. It's always been peak. I've always had people obsessed over me. So it's nothing new. But I prefer to focus on my work and focus on what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what I would rather focus on. I'd rather not focus on what somebody thinks of me or what somebody, you know, I've got shit to do. I have shit to do. So I don't want to keep talking about the same shit. People want to make racial slurs or any kind of slurs. That's up to them. I ain't got the fucking time to be focusing on it. And now I've got to look at this. I'm trying to look at the charts right now because I use the charts to calculate where the moon's going to be, see? That's what I do. I use the moon to calculate where the moon's going to be at any given time. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm writing this down. So, yeah, like, I try to focus on myself and what I'm doing and how I'm going to live my life, but people are obsessed with destroying me because they see two things. They see softness and they see vulnerability. And seeing that in a person on a daily basis, you'd think it would make people compassionate, but it actually doesn't. It actually makes them more bloodthirsty. The more vulnerable you are, the more people resent you for it, because they see you as somebody who is constantly in need. Not only do they see you as somebody constantly in need, they see you as somebody constantly getting what they need on top of that, because we put inside our minds that if we need help, we get it. So we see a vulnerable person or a person who seems to be softer than everyone else, and we think to ourselves, no, we gotta go in for blood because this person is taking more than their fair share. When in reality, vulnerable people get less than everyone else. Like, not even just by the nature of being born, but just life in general, vulnerable people get less than everyone else. So, you know, it's one thing that I've always had to deal with. People seeing my inner vulnerability and seeing how sensitive that I can be, and swooping in for the kill out of both resentment and a sort of perverse pleasure, or, you know, a sort of perverse pleasure, if you will, like a transference of anger. So that's why people like to come after me. So, and, you know, and a lot of people are saying, oh, it's not that deep, it's not that deep. That's just a belittling statement, honestly. It's what people like to do. They like to say it's not that deep, but, you know, it's always that deep. There's not a time where it's not that deep. Do you understand what I mean? People prey on the vulnerable because they perceive the vulnerable to have more than they actually do. And then on top of that, it makes people feel strong and dominant to prey on people who are vulnerable. I can't compare my situation to child abuse, or I can't, but it's kind of, you know, seeing vulnerability in a person will either elicit one of two reactions. It will elicit violence either way, but it will either elicit violence in protection of the vulnerable, or it will elicit violence in attacking the vulnerable or trying to vampirize from the vulnerable. And the combination of how I look and my sensitivity means people often want to siphon off me when they see that I'm vulnerable. So that's why I get the treatment that I get. It's not that it's, you know, people say, oh, it's not that deep. It is that deep. It is that fucking deep. But people want to, you know, be dismissive with regards to that behavior because they don't want to think of themselves as bad people. And if I'm talking about all the subconscious drives that causes people to attack people who are vulnerable, then it causes them to look at themselves, and people don't want to do that. So yeah, I've always had people obsessed over me. It's nothing new. Hold up. Yeah, so people have always attacked my vulnerability as a blood sport, because that's what people do. It's a human thing. It's not something that's out of the way or something that only like so-called evil people do. It's something that almost everyone does, if not everyone. So yeah, that explains the obsession with me. But I've learned what I've learned to do as I've gotten older. There are two things that have happened as I've gotten older. The first thing that's happened is that I've learned not to internalize it so much. But at the same time, it's the fact that the abuse is so rampant and so continuous and so stupid. When it gets to a certain point where, I've said it before in my videos, it gets to a certain point where the abuse becomes so ridiculous that you can't blame yourself anymore. You can't, you can't really blame yourself, because it just seems, it's just so over the top, and you just think to yourself, well, how can I hate myself when hate is this reckless? Do you understand what I mean? How can I do that when hate is this reckless? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, at some point, it's like that thing in Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? There's a limit there's a limit you reach where you're unable to reach or manipulate people. And he talked about when he was a boy, when he worked for free for his best friend's dad. So it was him and his best friend, and he worked for his dad. And after they completed their trial of working for free, their dad was teaching them a very fundamental lesson. So first of all, the dad started off offering him money, offering him more and more money for his work, more and more money, more and more money. At first, Robert Kiyosaki as a kid was like, oh, imagine what I could do with that. I think it went up to about like $2 a week or something like that. And he was like, oh, this is a lot of money. But then his best friend Mike's dad, he started offering like $5 or $10 or something like that a week. And then there was something in Robert that just closed off from there because it was too much. And it felt desperate to a kid. Like, remember, this is a kid, right? But as soon as there was a certain amount of money that was offered to him, it was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm really good. That's too much. That's ridiculous. And in a lot of ways, that's what the abuse of being a TI is like sometimes. There are times where you're going through the abuse, like I've been through the abuse. I've been documenting it for years on YouTube. I've been through this abuse, right, where it was just within the realms of believable enough for me to internalize. So especially when I was living at my dad's and I was really, really sick, and I would dissociate for hours on end, and everybody called me crazy. But it wasn't just the fact that they were calling me crazy or that they were spying on me. It was also that they were weaponizing it. But because I was very sick at the time, it was easy for me to internalize what people were saying about me and what people were doing to me. Even if it was really, really evil, it was easy for me to internalize it because I was very sick at the time. And I was like, I was very sick at the time. So it was easy for me to internalize it. But now that I'm going through the same thing, I'm being called crazy. It just feels ridiculous now. It just doesn't feel real, because the thing is, what they're calling me mad over, first of all, the first incident that people are calling me mad over was me literally being unable to walk, doubled up in pain because I was being electronically tortured. So that's the first instance. The second instance here is that I was throwing a tantrum because of the police. It was actually because of the police. The first time I was throwing a tantrum was because after all that harassment, these neighbors lied about what they were doing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the police came over and they did what they did. So I was really angry and I was really hurt. But even before then, even before any of that happened, before I'd even revealed even a modicum of mental illness, they were already calling me crazy for no reason. And all because the landlady said that I had mental health issues, but they got mental health issues. So it's like over the years, not only, you know, have I actually improved, I haven't improved in mental health. I'm not saying I've improved in mental health, but I'm functioning a lot better now than I did 10 years ago. I am functioning a lot better. Okay. So having functioning on this level, functioning on the level that I'm functioning at, and getting the same abuse that I got 10 years ago when I was sick, now it feels fucking ridiculous. Now it's just like, you know what, you guys are just being, you guys are just being pathetic. Now it's fucking ridiculous because it's like it's getting above a threshold of believability now. It's above the threshold of believability. It's not, it's just ridiculous. Like the abuse that I'm getting, like cross-sectioned with how well I'm functioning, and not only how well I'm functioning, how confident I am in myself. Because, you know, I used to get a lot of attacks with being fat. I still do. But the thing is, even though I'm not the biggest fan of my body, I look in the mirror and I just don't hate myself like that. I find it like I was looking in the mirror and I thought I don't look good, but where is the self-hatred? Like, where is it? And I realize it's not there. So that, combined with the fact that there are people way bigger than me in Brighton, combined with the fact that I'm functioning a lot better than I was like 10 years ago or 7 years ago, cross-section with that, all of that is what makes the abuse just so ridiculous, so dumb, and so stupid. Because you mean to tell me I've gone through all this hell, functioning better than most of the people talking, and you're trying to abuse me? It's just getting ridiculous. So it's at that point now where, while the abuse is annoying and it's very draining sometimes, it's still fucking ridiculous. It's not enough for me to think that I deserve any of this. Now I'm starting to understand that I don't deserve this shit. And when you realize that, it's very difficult for you to internalize abuse in the same way that you used to, because now you're starting to recognize, what exactly have I done to deserve this? And even when you were sick, you tried to make things right. So what exactly did you do to warrant any of this abuse? Nothing. All you did was, when you got abuse, you defended yourself. So it's like, now all the abuse that you go through is put into context. And now it's very, very difficult for people to sway you with the things that they say, because the things that they say are fucking dense and stupid. Okay, have I got, yeah, I'm just checking I wrote down the right cards to, so yeah, it's that threshold, you see. At a certain point, you just start to realize how ridiculous it all is, you know. So I'm just writing down my readings right now. I'm just writing down the notes, and then when I write down the notes, that's when I kind of, my third eye kicks in. So a lot of psychics have different ways of activating their third eye. With me, it's always been through study, and it's always been through observing my surroundings. So from that, I kind of form my premonitions based on what I have observed around me in past, present, and future. And I think working with ESP is really about knowing people as well. You have to know people in order to do something like this. In order to do anything to do with divination, you have to know people. You have to know how they work. You have to know how they operate. You can't, you can't do this without some form of emotional intelligence. So whilst I do write down notes for my tarot, I do. I do write down notes. I didn't put any music on. Hold on. I didn't put any music on. So whilst I do study a lot, I do write down notes and stuff like that. A lot of it is actually about just knowing who people are. You know, I've got to put some copyright-free music on, otherwise I'll get fucking flagged. So yeah, so it's really about knowing people. It's really about knowing people. That's ultimately what doing tarot readings is about. It's about knowing who people are and knowing how they operate. And with me having the astrological placements that I do, it's a little bit easier for me to do than most people, because, anyone who knows about Vedic astrology and anyone who knows about lunar mansions, Ketu dominant over here, okay? So it's easier for me to get to the truth of everything, because we are the dominant. Ketu dominant is all about authenticity, like I said in that Jared Leto thing. So yeah, it's easy for me to kind of understand how people work, because it's like understanding people from an authentic point of view. Where it becomes a problem is that people don't always want to face themselves. People don't always want to face the authenticity in themselves, and they can be very resistant. And I know people have been very resistant to the readings that I've given, only for me to be completely accurate, sometimes months in advance. But yeah, ESP is ultimately about empathy and connecting with people from a heart space level and understanding how they work. And in order to do that, you have to become comfortable with your own vulnerability. So that's why I can be too honest. There are times where I can be too honest and I can share too much. But the whole point of the matter is that if you keep yourself honest, you keep everybody else honest. And that's why people can't fuck with me, because I keep myself honest. Almost always. Okay, I'm just writing down more notes now. So yeah. I didn't get much work done. I've only written about one card so far since I've been talking to you. Hold on a second. I've only written about one card since I've spoken to you, and it's not that much to write. Man, I'm just writing the first zodiac sign down now. So yeah, I'm just that, I was trying to do this whole thing of there isn't a moment to waste, so I'm going to work while I'm doing my life. But I hardly got anything done. All I did was just open up a couple of files. I haven't even written any. Well, I've written stuff down, but not much. Let me just see. Shit. Oh, there we go. All right, let's see. So yeah. It's about knowing people when you're doing this stuff. And like all professions revolved around artistry or the astral realm, people don't take it seriously. Partially out of bitterness and partially out of just being uneducated. But the truth of the matter is that, like anything non-tangible, the scope with which you can reach people is kind of unmatched, and you can change somebody's entire life for the better even without being there. So I find that people who kind of look down on anything artistic or spiritual, you know, to me, they don't understand life. But I say the same thing about anybody who looks down on material considerations. They don't understand life. They don't understand life. They don't understand how life works. Life operates on all three planes, and if you don't understand that, you're an idiot. It's as simple as that. You know, so I don't have, you know, as much as I don't have time for people who are, you know, stuck on the, stuck on the material. I don't have a lot of people who are stuck on the spiritual either. If life is supposed to be abundant in all three areas, then why are you looking down on people who like have 9 to 5 jobs to survive? Why are you looking down on people who, you know, don't necessarily want to be rich and just want to be happy? Like, why are you looking down on them people? Do you know what I mean? Conversely, why are you looking down on people who are rich and want to be? If life is meant to be abundant in all three areas, then why are you looking down on people? That I don't fuck with that, you know. I don't fuck with that. It's bitter. I'm just writing down for another sign now. I've completed 2. That was easy. So now I have to completing. So I got to complete it. All right. So, yeah. I don't know if that's it. I think I have much more to talk about. I still haven't heard from my landlords yet. I still haven't heard from them. I am getting a lot of people trying to scaremonger me into staying. The thing is, people say that, you know, you suffer when you're homeless, or you say, but this is the thing about life, like, not even being a TI, life, right? In life, you're going to suffer one way or another. And the thing about comfort is that it leads you into a trap. Satisfaction is a trap. There is a difference between being grateful for what you have and letting that comfort and letting comfort, or letting there's a difference between being grateful and letting comfort and satisfaction stunt your growth. A big difference. And for me, when I get comfortable, I don't like it. And for me to stay here, or for me to stay anywhere, is to be comfortable with abuse. And, you know, I haven't left my house. That's a sign that I'm getting too comfortable with the abuse that's been leveled against me, and something needs to change. Big time. Again, I don't want to leave here. I'm tired. I'm tired of moving. I'm tired of constantly being in transit. But it just seems to be the only thing in my life that works in terms of keeping me steady, keeping me grounded. The irony is that in me moving all over the place, that's the only thing that seems to keep me steady. I don't want to fucking move. Like, I don't want to do it. It's just, it seems to be the only thing that fucking works in terms of my mental health and my functioning. The amount of leaps and strides that I have made in my mental health because of all the moving that I've been doing. You wouldn't believe it. And that, to me, is more important than being able to stay anywhere and putting up with bullshit. As for Empress Justice Tarot, I started Empress Justice Tarot as Real Justice Tarot in a fucking hostel. So you best believe I can do it anywhere. Let's just see, I've got to look up the cards. I could do it anywhere. I could really do this anywhere. It's not a big deal. All right. So yeah. I'm just I've made some progress on these bloody readings now, finally. Yeah, so I'm just doing my little tarot readings. I think I can go now, unless there's something else I'm missing. Okay, let's see. Shit, I got one of them wrong. Sorry. Damn, I got one of them wrong. I got to make this. All right, it happens. You get it wrong sometimes. Okay. I've got to write this down. Gemini's having a bit of a time at the moment. But if it's one sign you don't sleep on, it's a Gemini. And if there's one sign you don't mess with, it's a Gemini. That's all I'm going to say. You see my readings, you know what I'm talking about. Do not mess with a Gemini at all. It will not augur well for anybody who tries. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say, man. That's all I'm going to say. Do not fuck with a Gemini at all. Okay. So anyway, I got to go. I have to go. And I will see you guys in the next one. Please check out Empress Justice Tarot for the readings and the essay and the full moon, new moon, April readings. Okay? I love you guys. Take care. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.